3. Hey, everybody. Casey Ashmore, Stacy Massar. We're here in another episode. This is a fall episode of Carpool Conversations. And we are here to talk a little bit about the benefits of and the detriments of social media.
Absolutely. There are positives and negatives for sure with social media.
You know, and I mean, a lot of that has to do with the user. You can find some phenomenal, inspirational, motivational, wonderful things on social media. And in fact, I am kind of a consumer of that. I love motivational video. And it's, you know, one thing that's great about it is especially the YouTubes and the other feeds out there. If you like something once, then it'll start, promoting like feeds. So, if I like Stacy's Carpool Conversations, if there's another, sharing of wisdom feed out there on YouTube, then it'll promote that one to me as well. I may not like them all, but I can find them all.
Or not as much. Anyway.
Well, right. But what's good about that is that it will attract the things that, it's predictive. It will attract and suggest the things that you have liked in the past or what it determines that you might have liked in the past. And while that may be big brotherly, it's also very good because it will expose you to things that you might not have otherwise stumbled across with that YouTube search or Google search. But there's also some bad side to that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure you see a lot of bad. I mean, I see a lot of real estate agents doing social media poorly. It's all about me instead of some of the positive things about real estate. And I'm not sure everyone's having nearly as much fun as I am, having guest stars in Carpool Conversations. But there are so many ways.
Santa Claus.
I know, that was awesome.
That was amazing.
I'm sorry that you're the follow-up to Santa Claus.
I know. I mean, what a letdown for you guys.
Yeah, no, of course not. But social media is really great. It doesn't truly impact my clients nearly as much as it could for yours.
Right. It can be while again it can be an extreme positive in a lot of situations. It can be a bad one. There's a friend of mine here in town, John Browning, and he has a great speech on Facebook and social media. And one of the points that he made in his Facebook speech was that Facebook, if it were a country, would be the biggest country in the world. The other thing is that, he shared with us a feed of a bank robber who checked in at the bank, checked in his car after he robbed the bank and posted, "Just robbed the bank, yo," or something along those lines. And I believe the police officers found him within about 30 minutes, It was just, these are the things that you can do that can be detrimental on Facebook, but also you can do things that can be harmful. If you're involved in a family situation or a probate, any kind of dispute, a criminal matter, you can harm your case by posting and oversharing on Facebook. Facebook is not your counselor. Your bartender is not your counselor. You need to invoke, you've seen me post about it before. You need to invoke your right to silence, especially on social media, because it can be twisted and turned against you. And one thing about social media posts is they're almost self-authenticating and automatically admissible in a legal scenario, almost any legal scenario. So be cautious with what you're putting out there.
When I was going through my divorce, they asked for my Facebook login and password.
Yeah.
And I was very surprised. I mean, luckily there was nothing on there of interest other than baby photos to look at, but they asked for it and I had to give it up, and I was very surprised. Now, again, this was many, many years ago and Facebook wasn't as popular then,
right.
But still they were using it to create a case that I was a bad person.
Right. And
which clearly didn't work.
Well, clearly. And again, these are ways that you can be needled and attacked and what have you. Because there's no right to privacy in the communications on Facebook. So, they're held by third persons. You can, if for example, somebody involved in a dispute in, for example, Stacy's case, refused to give those up, filed a motion for protection. Well, guess what? A smart attorney can do. That smart attorney can just turn around and ask for Facebook to give those documents up. And if there's enough time lapses and they want to invest the resources into trying to get them, you can request those, and you might have to have a hearing in another state to get them, but more likely than not, you're going to get them.
Question: what if you delete stuff?
Well,
I'm just curious, legitimately, if you delete stuff, is there a way that they can go back and get that?
It's possible. You have to make your request broad enough to include what's in negative space.
Wow.
Because when you delete something on the internet, it doesn't go away. It's just,
I know, it's forever,
it's
right?
just in negative space. So
Very interesting.
it's out there on the dark web.
I know, you gotta be very
There's also
careful.
websites, just lastly, but before we close, there's websites, Wayback Time Machine and a couple of others that you can do some Google searches on, and they keep images of web pages going back years.
Really?
And I've had them, though I've had these. Now, they're not automatically admissible in court, but they're certainly just demonstrative evidence, which means somebody can demonstrate what your mindset was, whether you would be you posted negatively, being vindictive in your communications, or had some other agenda, or if some policy has changed. You know, if you've got terms and conditions for your company, for your real estate agency, and they've changed over the course of perhaps a lawsuit, that someone could use those to, could use a service like that to show how your web pages have changed over the years to your detriment or sometimes to your benefit. But regardless, these things are out there. Anyway, be mindful, be careful. We are in the carpool line, so look for those yellow flashing signs, y'all.
Absolutely. And be positive too on Facebook. We need a little more positivity.